Take me through there, take me through there. Take me through there, take me through there. Yes. Grooms in Atlanta, grand opening this Sunday, 3:30 to 6:30. Come help us celebrate. Yes, I need my Hopper High Trojans, my DC Tigers, Marietta, not Marietta, Marietta. Y'all know Brenda Sean. Come and help us celebrate. Free lineup, free food, free beard trim, free giveaway. Come help us celebrate this Sunday, 3:30 to 6:30.
October 4th, 2025, 9:07 p.m. The emergency line at Douglasville Police Department lights up. The address, Little Brook Way, a quiet suburban street where families sleep soundly behind locked doors. But tonight, something has shattered that peace. On the other end of the line, panic, terror, the kind of screaming that dispatchers never forget. Inside the house, chaos. Outside, the sound of footsteps pounding across grass. Fast, desperate, then silence. Two sharp cracks pierce the night air. 90 seconds later, blue lights flood the yard. Officers step out, hands on their weapons, eyes scanning the darkness. What they find stops them cold. A woman, face down on the lawn, blood pooling beneath her, lifeless, standing just feet away. A man, gun hanging loose in his right hand, waiting. The killer? Her husband, 51-year-old Volanta Lejuan Walker. A registered sex offender. They'd been married less than 12 months. 6 hours ago, that woman was hanging a banner outside her barber shop. Grand reopening October 5th. 16 years of work. One more night and her dream would finally be complete. She would never make it to morning. The question is, why? This is the story the evening news didn't tell you. Welcome to True Crime Anatomy. Thank you to our amazing subscribers. May your families stay safe wherever they are. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, because here we bring you the parts the media never reported. What you're about to hear will change the way you look at true crime forever and reveal 5 critical things that could have saved her life, lessons that could save anyone. So stay with us until the end. September 2009, Sabrina Walker stands outside a small storefront on Fairburn Road in Douglasville, Georgia. In her hand, a single key. Behind her, 3 young daughters watching their mother chase a dream. She unlocks the door to what will become the groomsmen of Atlanta barbershop. No investors, no business loans, just grit, talent, and a pair of scissors. Sabrina isn't just opening a salon. She's building an escape route from poverty, a future for her girls, a place where she controls her own destiny. And there's a 4th daughter too, a little girl she took in at age 4, raised as her own, loved without question. For 16 years, Sabrina poured everything into that shop. Through the 2008 recession, through sleepless nights as a single mother, through doubt, exhaustion, and every obstacle life throws at her. The barbershop becomes more than a business. It becomes her identity, her sanctuary, her proof that hard work pays off. By 2025, she's ready to take it to the next level. Renovations, expansion, new booths, new suites. A grand reopening to show Douglasville what she's built. And in early October 2025, Sabrina is planning something special. A grand reopening celebration for the shop, but also her 57th birthday that same weekend. One more day. That's the date she circles on her calendar. 2 reasons to celebrate. 1 perfect moment. Life, for once, feels like it's finally coming together. At least, that's what she thought. To neighbors on Little Brook Way, Volanta Lejuan Walker seems ordinary enough. 51 years old. Married to a local businesswoman, keeps to himself mostly. No one asks too many questions. But if they had searched his name, if they had looked just a little closer, they would have found a history that should have set off every alarm. Because Volanta Walker isn't new to violence. He's perfected it. Volanta's then wife, Regina Walker, is inside their home when an argument erupts. It escalates fast. Regina knows what's coming. She's seen this rage before, so she runs up the stairs into a 2nd-floor bedroom. She locks the door behind her. A gunshot explodes through the house. Regina doesn't wait. She climbs out the window, clings to the sill with her fingertips, dangling 2 stories above the concrete driveway below. She can't hold on. She falls, hard. Her face slams into the pavement. Neighbors hear the impact. They rush outside. What they see will haunt them. Volanta standing over Regina's crumpled body, a gun in his hand, pointed directly at her face. Then he kicks her. Square in the mouth, 3 teeth fly across the driveway. A neighbor screams, tries to intervene. Volanta turns the gun on her. Get out of here. Police arrive. Volanta is arrested and charged with aggravated assault, aggravated battery, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. During the plea process, prosecutors make another discovery. Volanta is already a registered sex offender. 13 prior arrests on his record. In March 2019, a judge sentenced him to 20 years in prison. 7 to serve. Regina Walker survives. Barely. But the system has just handed Volanta a countdown clock. January 2022. Volanta Lejeune Walker walks out of prison. 3 years served. 17 years forgiven. A registered sex offender. A man who beat his wife unconscious and pointed a gun at a neighbor. A man with 13 arrests, free. The parole board releases him back into Douglasville. No GPS monitor mentioned in public records. No restrictions preventing him from entering new relationships. By 2025, he's married again. The woman's name, Sabrina Walker. The pattern, identical. Another argument. Another woman trying to escape. Another chase across a yard. But this time, there's no window to fall from. This time, Volanta doesn't miss. The justice system gave him a second chance. Sabrina Walker paid for it with her life. The exact moment Sabrina Walker met Volanta remains a mystery. No wedding announcement, no social media posts celebrating their engagement, just scattered pieces of a timeline that ended in tragedy. What we know, they married sometime between late 2024 and early 2025. What we don't know, almost everything else. Did Sabrina run a background check? Did she know about Regina Walker? About the 2019 attack? About the gun, the beating, the teeth scattered across concrete? Did she know Volanta was a registered sex offender? Did she know about the 13 arrests? Or did he hide it all? Erase his past with charm and lies? Friends say Sabrina was private about her personal life. She didn't broadcast her relationship, didn't parade him around the barbershop. Maybe that should have been the first warning sign. By the time people close to Sabrina started asking questions, the marriage was already fracturing. Less than 12 months in, and she was looking for the exit. The change was subtle at first. Sabrina, normally upbeat, always smiling, seemed distracted. Tired, withdrawn. Her closest friends noticed. In hushed conversations away from prying ears, Sabrina began to open up. She wanted out. She was planning to leave him. But Volanta had made one thing crystal clear. You can't leave. Not a conversation, a command. The same words he'd likely said to Regina Walker before she climbed out that second-story window. Friends recognized the pattern immediately. Isolation, control, intimidation. Sabrina was caught in a trap. On one side, her dream. The grand reopening. 16 years of work are about to pay off. Independence within reach. On the other side, her marriage. A man who wouldn't let her go. A man whose history proved he was willing to hurt anyone who tried to escape. Even her daughters felt it. Early October 2025. The grand reopening is days away. Sabrina throws herself into the final preparations. New furniture arriving, decorations going up, social media posts promoting the event. She's reclaiming control of her life, piece by piece. But for Volanta, every step Sabrina takes toward independence is a step away from him. While Sabrina plans her future, Volanta is ensuring she won't have one. The final week of Sabrina Walker's life is a blur of preparation and dread. At the barbershop, everything is falling into place. Renovations complete, new booths installed, sleek modern suites ready for clients. Invitations have been sent, loyal customers RSVP, friends promise to show up. Her daughters are helping with every detail. This is supposed to be Sabrina's victory lap, the culmination of 16 years of sacrifice. But at home, the atmosphere is suffocating. Arguments erupt with increasing frequency. What starts as tension becomes shouting matches. Volanta's anger, always simmering beneath the surface, begins to boil over. Sabrina confides in friends. She's afraid. She feels trapped. But leaving isn't simple. Where does she go? How does she protect her daughters? What if he follows her? These are the questions that keep victims of domestic violence frozen in place. And time is running out. Saturday, October 4th. Sabrina wakes up knowing tomorrow changes everything. Tomorrow is the grand reopening. Tomorrow is her 57th birthday. Tomorrow is the beginning of the rest of her life. She just has to survive today. She heads to the barbershop early. Final touches, making sure everything is perfect. The banner is up. Grand reopening, October 5th. She stands back, looking at what she's built. 16 years, 3 recessions, 4 daughters were raised, countless obstacles overcome. One more day, just one more day. She returns home that evening. The sun is setting over Little Brook Way. Her daughters are inside, waiting, and so is Volanta. The exact trigger is unknown. Maybe Sabrina mentioned the divorce again. Maybe Volanta saw the grand reopening as her final escape. Maybe it was nothing at all. With men like Volanta Walker, it doesn't take much. Inside the Little Brook Way home, voices rise. The 4 daughters hear it. They've heard it before, but tonight feels different. The argument grows louder, more aggressive. Then, movement, fast, chaotic. Sabrina makes a split-second decision. She runs, out the front door, into the yard, away from him. It's the same instinct Regina had in 2019, the same desperate flight toward safety that never comes. Volanta doesn't hesitate. He grabs his gun, and he chases her. No words, no warnings, just footsteps pounding across the grass behind her. Sabrina is running for her life in her own front yard, but there's no window to climb out of, no neighbor close enough to intervene in time. Volanta closes the distance, he raises the gun, and this time, he doesn't miss. The first shot hits her from behind. She stumbles, tries to keep moving. The second shot drops her. Sabrina collapses onto the lawn, face down, arms outstretched. Sabrina falls. The woman who spent 16 years building a dream collapses onto the lawn she walked across 1,000 times. Blood pools beneath her. Volanta stands over her, gun still in his hand. He doesn't call for help, doesn't check her pulse, doesn't run. He just waits, waiting. For what? The police? An audience? Maybe he knows it's over. Maybe he doesn't care. Inside the house, Sabrina's daughters are screaming, crying, dialing 911. Our father just shot our mother. The operator dispatches units immediately. Sirens wail through Douglasville, but it's already too late. Sabrina Walker, mother, businesswoman, friend, survivor of 16 years of struggle, is gone. One day before her grand reopening, one day before her 57th birthday, one day before everything she worked for was supposed to begin. Volanta Lejuan Walker stole it all, and he's still standing there when the police arrive. Blue lights flood Little Brook Way. Douglasville police arrive in under 3 minutes. Officers step out, hands on their weapons, eyes scanning. The scene is immediate, clear, horrifying. A woman motionless lying in the front yard, a man standing 10 feet away holding a gun. "Drop the weapon," commands echo through the night. "Drop it now." Volanta doesn't move, doesn't lower the gun, doesn't raise his hands. He just stares at the officers. Then, slowly, he lifts the gun, points it directly at them. An officer doesn't hesitate. One shot. Volanta goes down. The gun falls from his hand. Officers rush forward. One kicks the weapon away. Another covers Volanta while a third moves toward Sabrina. "We need EMS, now." But even as the words leave his mouth, the officer knows Sabrina Walker is dead. The officer kneeling beside Sabrina checks for a pulse. Nothing. No breathing. No movement. 2 gunshot wounds. Center mass. She's pronounced dead at the scene. Paramedics arrive. They stabilize Volanta. Gunshot wound to the torso. He's alive, unconscious. They load him onto a stretcher and rush him to the hospital under police guard. Inside the house, the daughters are still on the line with 911. An officer approaches the front door, knocks gently. "Douglasville Police, you're safe now. We need you to come out slowly." The door opens. 4 young women step outside, eyes red, faces wet with tears. They see the crime scene tape going up. The flashing lights, the covered body in the yard. Their mother. One of them collapses. Another catches her. They hold each other as officers guide them away from the scene. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is called in. Standard procedure for officer-involved shootings. But this case is anything but standard. 2 investigations run simultaneously. 1, the homicide of Sabrina Walker. 2, the shooting of Volanta Walker by Douglasville Police. Investigators pull Volanta's records. What they find stops them cold. March 2019. Aggravated assault, aggravated battery, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Victim, Regina Walker. His previous wife, sentenced to 20 years, served 3, released on parole January 2022. Then, another search. Georgia Sex Offender Registry. There he is, Volanta Lejuan Walker, registered. 13 prior arrests stretching back years. The pattern is undeniable. This man has done this before, almost identically. Domestic argument. The woman flees, he chases, he shoots. Regina survived because she fell from a window. Sabrina had no window. The question burning through the investigative team, through the community, through anyone who hears this story: how was he free? How does a man with this history walk out of prison after 3 years and end up married again? How does the system fail this catastrophically? How did this man with this history end up free? Married, with access to another woman? How does someone like this slip through every crack in the system? October 5th, 2025, Sunday morning. The sun rises over Douglasville. Loyal customers wake up excited. Today's the day, Sabrina's grand reopening. They head to the Groomsmen of Atlanta barbershop on Fairburn Road. But when they arrive, they don't find any celebration. They find police tape, news cameras, a grief-stricken community. Word spreads fast. Sabrina is dead, murdered by her husband. The night before the grand reopening, 4 daughters, who should be celebrating their mother's achievement, are instead planning her funeral. But then, something unexpected happens. The daughters make a decision. The grand reopening will continue, not despite their mother's death. Because of it, they will open those doors. They will honor her 16 years of work. They will prove that even death cannot erase Sabrina Walker's legacy. And on October 5th, 2025, exactly as planned, the Groomsmen of Atlanta barbershop opens its doors. At 10 a.m., not to customers, not for business, for memory.
How you doing? Oh, no.
Thank y'all so much for coming out.
Bye, everybody.
Blood, sweat, and tears. She would have wanted it just like it. We try to plan these for fun, but I thank y'all so much for coming out. We'll get up together. We just want to be a part of the community, the greater community together. That's fun. We got these bitches out here. Unforeseen circumstances will cause us all homeless people to sleep right here. We welcome all to Rooms of Atlanta. Come by my room.
If you look good, pull it tight.
There you go.
Cousin got a ticket. Jada gonna have them. Get a ticket. Put it in the bowl. I don't know what we're gonna give y'all.
We got no prize.
We got no prize.
Jessica Barneswell speaks to reporters outside, her voice steady despite the tears. This was something she was really looking forward to. Her sister Michaela adds, "My mama put her blood, sweat, and tears into this business." Shabreka Polk, barely able to speak, says what they all feel. "This is what my mom would have wanted." Loyal customers arrive, not for haircuts, for solidarity. They hug the daughters, share stories about Sabrina, leave flowers, cry together. Anesha Nixon, Sabrina's friend, stands in the doorway looking around at the crowd. She was a loving person. She showed up for people, so they're going to show up for her. The salon becomes a memorial, a celebration, a statement. Violence took Sabrina's life, but it couldn't take her legacy, to mourners, to friends, to a community saying goodbye. Sabrina Walker may not be there, but her dream is. Volanta survives the officer's gunshot. He's in surgery, then recovery. Under armed guard, 2 officers stationed outside his hospital room, 24 hours a day. As of October 11th, formal charges haven't been filed. The investigation is still active, but prosecutors are already building their case. Murder, felony murder, aggravated assault on police officers. If convicted, Volanta faces life in prison without parole, possibly the death penalty. But here's the haunting reality. He was already supposed to be in prison for 17 more years. And now, only now, the justice system is asking if he should ever walk free again. The story spreads across Douglasville, then Georgia, then nationwide. Social media explodes with tributes. Justice for Sabrina trends locally. Fundraising efforts launched to support the daughters. The contact number, 404-702-2090, is shared thousands of times. But beyond grief, there's anger. How was Volanta released after 3 years? Why wasn't Regina's attack enough to keep him locked up? Domestic violence advocacy groups seize the moment. They hold vigils, host community meetings. Sabrina's case becomes a symbol of systemic failure. a woman murdered by a man the system set free. Sabrina Walker's murder wasn't random. It was the result of a system that failed at every level. 2019, Volanta sentenced to 20 years for nearly killing Regina. 2022, released after serving just 3. No GPS monitoring. No restrictions on relationships. No real oversight. He was free to do exactly what he'd done before. And he did. The parole board prioritized reducing prison populations. They gambled on rehabilitation. Sabrina paid for that gamble with her life. But she's not alone. In America, 3 women are killed every single day by intimate partners. That's over 1,000 women per year. Sabrina is a statistic, a name on a growing list. Her friends knew she wanted to leave. She confided about the threats. But what were her options? Stay and endure escalating violence. Leave and risk triggering the exact violence she feared. It's a trap millions of women face every day. No safe choice, no clear exit. Sabrina was caught between her dream and her nightmare, and when she finally tried to run, it was too late. 5 things that could have saved Sabrina Walker. 1. Stricter parole conditions for violent domestic abusers. Volanta should never have been released after 3 years. 2. Mandatory disclosure of criminal history. Should Sabrina have been warned before marrying him? Should Regina's story have been public record? 3. GPS monitoring for repeat offenders. If Volanta had been tracked, would he have acted differently? 4. Better enforcement of restraining orders. Too often, these are just pieces of paper. 5. More accessible escape resources, shelters, legal aid, financial support for victims trying to leave. But beyond policy, there are lessons for all of us. If someone tells you they're being threatened, believe them. Domestic violence isn't a one-time event. It's a pattern. Early intervention saves lives, and the justice system must stop giving violent abusers second chances to kill. Sabrina Walker was 56 years old, a mother of 4, a businesswoman who built something from nothing over 16 years, a hairstylist who touched countless lives, a woman who showed up for her community. She was taken one day before her grand reopening, one day before her 57th birthday, by a man who should still have been in prison. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Have you seen similar cases in your community? What do you think should happen to repeat domestic abusers? Thank you for watching. But the question we must ask, how many more Sabrinas will die before we fix this? If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out. National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233, or text START to 88788. You can also support Sabrina's daughters and the groomsmen of Atlanta Barbershop at 404-702-2090. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more investigations where we tell the stories the media doesn't. Tomorrow, the parole board's deadliest mistake: how early release programs are putting violent offenders back on the streets. Remember Sabrina Walker, not for how she died, but for the 16 years she fought, she built, she dreamed, and for the 4 daughters who honored that dream anyway. Rest in power, Sabrina.